This is Joshua Hart for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Peter Fury here at his gym. Peter, it's a beautiful day outside. We just had the MVP media workouts ahead of July 11th. First of all, how is everything there? You all good?
Everything's good, yeah.
Very good to hear. So, strange things. Savannah Marshall out on July 11th. Return to the ring. I believe, is it over? By the time she gets to the ring, it would have been over 2 years since she last boxed. It hasn't, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I can see that, but she's experienced and she's had a good training camp and she's going to be ready.
What can we expect to see upon the return from Savannah Marshall?
I think it's going to be a great fight. It's not a walk in the park. It's a difficult fight. It's a fight that Savannah's motivated for because she's up against a good world champion. So these are the type of fights that she really wants. So yeah, we're happy. You know, it's not this fight's not a foregone conclusion. It's a hard fight, but she's trained for that anyway, and the best woman will win on the night.
How good is it to have Savannah back in boxing? We know that she had a little stint in MMA and were at points maybe unsure what she was going to do, but back in boxing now. Happy for that? Happy to see that? Yeah,
I'm always happy. It's nice to have Savannah back in the gym. You know, she's been with me from day one, from her professional debut. So, you know, she's always been with us. Yeah, it is what it is. It's one big family, isn't it? So she's back. She's comfortable. She seems to do very, very well. So she does the job. She listens. She carries out her work. She's diligent, and she works hard. And you know, that's all you can ask of any fighter.
Absolutely. Obviously, we know there's a long-lasting rivalry there with Claressa Shields as well. Is that a fight that you guys will be looking for, if all goes well, on July 11th?
Well, if all goes well, I haven't thought about it. You know, it's not something that I've spoke about. Certainly not. But I think if she wins this, I know Savannah would like a rematch with her because that's what she's asked for, and it'd be nice. It'd be nice for me as well because I want to see me fighters in top fights. I want to see them fight the best. I want to see them pit themselves against the best. So yeah, it's 1-0 at the moment to Claressa. So hopefully we can even the tables a bit.
Absolutely.
Could even end up with a trilogy out of it. You never know, dear.
Absolutely, that's the beauty of boxing. Just looking elsewhere in the gym as well, Hughie Fury back next week on a GBM card. One thing that I know you wanted for Hughie was activity, and he seems to be getting that now with Izzy and GBM. But people are starting to ask the questions of when will we see Hughie step back up into those big fights. Obviously, was this fight on a short notice call, first of all, this fight in Hull?
Yeah, look, these are keep busy fights, and the thing is, we're in deep conversations with Izzy, GBM, to get Hughie a proper fight for September. So that's what they're working on. That's what the plan is for Hughie all along. So hopefully they can secure a good name for him in September, and yeah, he's going to be back.
How much notice were you given about this June 28th date? So obviously the original plan for GBM was to do the show in Galway. Then there was all the big fallout of what's happened with Malloy and GBM. How much notice were you given about this whole date?
I think we've had this date for a good 5-6 weeks.
Oh, so was Hughie meant to appear on the Galway card anyway?
He was going to appear on there anyway. So he's had a good training camp and he's ready.
Absolutely. You mentioned wanting the big fights in September. I'm going to push two names at you here. The first name, would you like to see Hughie maybe step in there with someone like Joe Joyce, who's also targeting a return to the ring and looking to bounce back?
Definitely. I know Joe well. That'd be a nice fight for Hughie. That'd be good to get them two at it. Look, without even mentioning names to me, Hughie's ready for anybody, really. If the fights can be made, make them. Let's put it this way. They're not going to get made because of financial issues on our part. Hughie needs these fights, so any of these fights could be made. We're interested.
Another big name that people have maybe rumoured about for Hughie is Fabio Wardley. Obviously, we saw Fabio Wardley at Portman Road the other week. How do you think Hughie would get on against someone like Fabio Wardley?
Fabio Wardley's a good fighter. I've seen his fight, actually. It was very good. You know, look, you can only put fighters in. Would Hughie take that fight? Yes, he would. Yeah? So that's it. You know, I don't disrespect any fighters, you know, and I don't know how an heavyweight's going to get on because every heavyweight, you're one punch away from disaster. We've seen that in actually Wardley's fight. You know, so who knows? But the thing is, would you be up for taking any of these fights? Yes, of course he would. Would he take them? Definitely a yes.
A name that Hughie, when I last spoke to Hughie in April, he said that he would finish Anthony Joshua's career. Obviously, Anthony Joshua we've been told that he's got a 2-fight deal with Turki Al Sheikh. If not Hughie, who would you like to see AJ facing those two?
I think AJ needs. He's done very well in his career, and to fight somebody like Hughie would be a step down for him because he's got nothing to gain. And then what I mean by that is Hughie's got to come back and he's got to beat a good name. Yeah. Then people's going to say, well, hang on, he's beat him, he's back in the mix. Then these things can happen. But first of all, Hughie would be climbing up 10 ladders already before. But if that fight happened, of course he'd take it. It'd be like, for Hughie, it'd be like winning the lottery, wouldn't it? To take somebody like Joshua now. But he's got to build himself. He's got to build himself, not because he's getting ready, because he's got to fight a name out there. He's been inactive and he's had 3 or 4 mediocre fights, just tick over fights. So he needs a name to get back in the mix.
What other names in the heavyweight division take your fight? We've seen names like Jared Anderson and Dillian Whyte rumoured for Anthony Joshua. Obviously, Dillian Whyte now out of that picture. What heavyweight fight would you like to see Anthony Joshua in? Which name is the top of your list?
Well, whoever the top heavyweights out there, he needs to get back in. I'd like to see him box Dubois again. I don't know. They know what they're doing. But good fights. He needs to be in good fights, Joshua. He doesn't want to be cherry picking them because people's going to see what that is. He doesn't need to practice, does he? Do you know what I mean? We only had these fights for Hughie because he's 3 years out and he wasn't well. So it's to get his body back in condition, get him boxing again. There's a reason. But Hughie, he's ready now for a big fight, really. So I'm sure that Joshua doesn't need to play around. He needs to be in serious fights himself.
Speaking of serious fights, a serious fight was announced last week in Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte. A huge step for Moses Itauma at this stage of his career in such a young age. How did you see the fight playing out? Who do you make the favourite?
Look, it's a good fight to make. Dillian Whyte's got the experience. He's also he can punch. He's strong. He's a big unit. But can he negate the speed, the power, and the ferocity of this young heavyweight coming? And he gives angles. He's a good boxer as well. So that's the thing. You've got experience against somebody who's up and coming that hasn't been tested yet because he's so sharp, so deadly with his punches, and and he's very explosive. So time will tell. But it could be a quick night for Moses Itauma, or it could be a banana skin where he's in for a war and he could get dragged into deep water. Either way, it's good for Itauma because we're going to see what he's all about, Or is he going to have another quick night? We have to see. Or Dillian Whyte could think to himself, he could be kryptonite for Itauma because he's experienced, he's been there. So it's definitely an intriguing fight to watch for them reasons.
And just last one from me, going back, I guess, towards Savannah or MVP as a whole. We've seen what they're doing with female boxing. Yeah. In a sense, kind of playing the way that Turki Al Sheikh has been playing with the top fights in the heavyweight division. It seems that's what Jake Paul and MVP are doing. How impressed to see what they're doing? How impressed does that make you?
Well, I'm very impressed because it's an all-women's card, isn't it? So they're putting the best fights on and putting these women fights together. They're paying the fighters well. They're looking after them. They're very happy. The managements of the fighters are very happy. Nick Hennessy is dealing with MVP Promotions. He said he's never worked with a better outfit. He speaks very highly of them. They stood on to everything they've said to the letter. You can't ask for no more than that. So anybody that does what it says on the tin needs respect. So they're doing what they say they're going to do and more besides. So they're putting on a brilliant show. Savannah's super happy. She's very, very happy to be on board with her team. And, long may it continue.
Absolutely, Pete. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time and thank you for having us here today. And I'll see you next week in Hull. Thank you. Perfect.